Everybody, I'm Jiri, CEO in Keboola, and I'll give you a short introduction into what Keboola does. I'm very happy to see quite nice turnout, even though this topic is not as sexy as running AI agents or shooting rockets into the space. So happy to see everybody here. Hopefully it will be giving you some insight and giving you some inspiration for your future work. So I'll share some information. What is Keboola actually? One may ask, and can't see the slides moving. Hopefully it will pick up. That was too much. So Keboola has been established and originated in 2008 in Czech Republic, Central Europe, and with the mission of automating infrastructure tasks. And it pivoted into the automating data tasks when our co-founder joined our founder, Peter and Pavel, in 2014. And then the beginning of the Keboola, as it is right now, started to take a shape. Basically, our mission is to automate all the boring tasks that we have to do. And basically, this is our obsession. Yeah, we would like to remove from humanity everything that is boring and we have to do manually. What you can imagine, then there is a lot of things that we have to do these days. Still in 2025, is reported that 80% of the tasks that data engineers have to do is to clean the data and prepare the data for further analysis. And this is something that is such a waste of the time, and we see that we should give much more fun work to all the people when we are able to help them automating all those tasks that are very, very boring. We have all the frenzy around the AI, but if you imagine that and take a little bit of the theory that humans are the best AI for now, and imagine how badly we prepare a data for them. So what they have to go through until they are able to explore the data, this is absolutely horrible. And the only way we are able to cope with it because we are the best AI. So modern agents will not be able to cope with such a level of complexity that we prepared for humans. And this is also what we're doing. We simplifying and preparing the data so people can do analysis, and also AI agents can do the analysis. We have a quite substantial number of customers across all the geography. We have a large operation in the United States, Central Europe. Obviously, our customers are all across the world. And just last year, we have eliminated boring work in the size of 180 years, and we are very, very proud of that. So again, what you can imagine how Keboola is and how it operates is that we are as a operating system in your pocket phone, in your smartphone. You can build everything yourself with the help of a lot of people. You can assemble your own hardware. You can develop your driver layer that can access the hardware. Then you can develop your operating system that can access the hardware. And then you build your application, your TikToks, your Facebooks, your whatever you use on your phone. But it all requires a substantial number of people for you to build it until you get the value out of that. And this is exactly what we do for the data. So Keboola, very simply put, we take care of all the layers that are necessary for you to be able to do your job. That means do your analytical job and making sure that you can harvest the power of the data and ask questions on the data. And that unlocks the vast amount of value inside of the business, any of the business. So our customers are taking advantage that when they are small, one person can do the job of what in other companies is a job of 100 people, because they have a powerful platform in their hand. In the large companies, they are taking an advantage of that they sort of democratize access to the data. So instead of just focusing on few workloads that deliver the value to the company, they can enable everybody to ask the questions. What is the propensity of this customer to buy? What is the efficiency of this product? What is the return on the investment what we have? What is the operational cost per FTE, etc., etc. So there's a number of questions inside of the departments that usually in large organizations people cannot answer because they don't have access to the data. So they revert to what they have, which is a sort of Excel analysis. And this is never gonna be easy and smooth journey. So this is Keboola in the nutshell. And how we get to the ESG. So basically, we saw last year when the regulations came into the place to contain and have more businesses being mandated or asked to jump on the ESG train. We saw a number of customers coming back to us and asking us on how they can automate this, because if you have any experience with collecting data for ESG, it requires a lot of manual interventions on having the data from human systems, HR systems, ERPs, then some invoices from your providers or from other sources, and there is a bunch of people who needs to take care of that. And we saw the potential. This is in our core, and when we saw our customers struggling, we saw the potential to automate this, because we are very obsessed with the automation all the way. So then we said, look, we are experts in automation, but we are not experts in ESG, and then therefore we reached out to our partners, PwC, under which advisory we have built an ESG solution. And this is something that we would like to show you also today, how easy it can be to do ESG and collect the data. Also, with the update of the regulation, it's not only that businesses do this for a regulation. There is also a number of value-added outcomes that are coming to understand your sort of ESG data, if I may put it this way. And with that segue, I'd like to hand over to Robert and give him a word so he can show you the magic on ESG and give you some insight on the implementation. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you, Jiri. So good afternoon to all of you. My name is Robert Dlabal, and I'm from PwC. As Jiri mentioned, we helped Keboola with this solution focusing on ESG. As we have a long experience with non-financial report during our past projects during the past years. And today I would like to give you a quick evolving of landscape of ESG reporting within the European Union. I would like to split within two phases. The first phase, quick insight, and then second phase, the proposal updates for future periods. So we can jump on the following slides, please. Yeah, thank you. So the aim of European Union is to put the non-financial reporting, systematic report on the same level as financial report. Why they are doing that? They would like to get the consistency and comparability across the different companies within the European Union. They would like to increase the transparency and standardization of content, do SRS standards, and of course, they would like to increase the quality of the reporting at all. For that, they already developed during the past 2 years CSRD directive, Corporate Systematic Reporting Directive, and so-called SRS standards, European Standards for Reporting of Systematic Data. Both of these directives were approved during the past period. And together with that, there is another part, the directive called EU taxonomy. In fact, EU taxonomy is an additional part of non-financial reporting, focusing on transferring of private sources into more sustainable topics. So that's the aim of EU taxonomy in brief. If we can go on next slide, please. I would like to mention 3 main points why to focus on non-financial reporting in general. There are 3 main reasons for our clients, what we see from our projects. First, there would be demand from customers, what we saw even in past from different industries, from heavy industry, from machinery, from automotive. A lot of clients requested from their supply chain sustainable information, a lot of ESG data. They are sending them ESG questionnaires, etc. And that's why we would recommend definitely for our clients to focus on this area in advance in order to get this information on time and in the way as requested according to the legislation. Second, there is a pressure from authorities that the European Union would like to standardize the CSRD and the non-financial reporting through CSRD directive and SRS standards. So that should be the second reason, even that there are some updates, which I will speak about it later on. And the third reason why to focus on that is to assist to financing. Financial institutions, banks are asking quite often their clients for systematic data. They are asking for carbon footprint of big production companies, big clients, in order to know their position in the ESG, as they need to do according to another legislation which came in the first wave. So that's why we need to focus on non-financial reporting. And if we can jump on next slide. In fact, CSRD required a lot of information from the company. Mainly, the biggest requirement is to issue the regular consolidated report for the fiscal year of the client together with the annual report. There should be sustainable information which should take into account short-term, mid-term, and long-term horizon. And of course, for example, there will be some many other financial data, non-financial data points like GG emissions and so on, which need client to report. The information need to consist of big group of quantitative and qualitative data points according to SRS standards, which are quite complex. And that's why there's a suggestion for some simplification in some second, let's say, group of standards called voluntary SME standards. Now, if you can jump on next slide, you will see how the SRS standards looks like. In fact, there are some cross-cutting standards focusing on general requirements and topics and general information, and there are then specific standards for environmental, social, and governance sections. That means that, for example, SRS E1 standard is focusing on climate change and carbon footprint of the company, and then the other standards for the other information focusing on pollution and so on and so on. Altogether is something around 300 plus pages, what our clients need to focus on it in order to report regularly and at the beginning when they need to do the initial assessment according CSRD directive and SRS standard, and this assessment called double materiality assessment. So once I need to focus as a company on it, I need to study the standards, or I need to take some consultants to support them with this process and setting all necessary steps on this journey. And now in February 25, European Union decided that there should be some simplification, which is definitely welcome by all companies and consultants as well. And maybe on next slides, we will see the concrete specific, let's say, proposal. This proposal for simplification of a regulation for systematic reporting called Omnibus, and it's proposal which were issued during the last 2 weeks. And in fact, the reason is that there were a lot of data and there were a lot of tasks around with the non-financial reporting. So the proposal contains several parts. One of the main important parts is so-called stop the clock proposal, which means that there is a suggestion of European Union to postpone the reporting for the wave 2 and wave 3 and shifting the threshold for 1,000 employees. I would say that the wave 2 is for 250 plus employees companies, and the wave 2 normally should start to report starting this year, starting 2025. So there is a stop the clock to propose this for the following 2 years when it starts to be mandatory. And of course, there are some other parts as well. They would like to modify the contents of this reporting in order to simplify the information. They would like to change something in the scope, the requirements. They want to modify the future assurance as well, requirements. And they would like to partially update the SRS standards as well. It means concretely focusing more from qualitative to quantitative points. Part of this proposal were some other legislation as well, focusing on CS3 due diligence, EU taxonomy, and carbon border adjustment mechanism as well. Let's focus now on CSRD and on upcoming changes which are part of this proposal. So in the orange box, you can see the current valid CSRD criteria. Balance sheet 25 million euro, net turnover 50 million, and average number of employees during the financial year plus 250. In case if company fulfills at least 2 out of these 3 criteria, then they need to start to report in the wave 2, which means starting to report for the fiscal year 2025 on client side. Now, there is a new proposal how to modify that. First, there is an obligatory criteria. The average number of employees during the financial year will be 1,000 plus employees. And in case if client fulfill this first obligatory criteria, then there are 2 additional criteria focusing on balance sheet 25 million euro and net turnover 50 million euro. So it means that there is a simplification and the scope of the companies will be decreased with this reporting. Even that now there are 2 groups. The companies with 1,000 plus employees still need to focus on CSRD and SRS, and they are awaiting some updates in following months, I would say. And then it born the second group of the companies which are in the wave 2, which are preparing for the reporting starting 2025. And this group of companies has the average number of employees something between 250 up to 1,000. For the second group, there will be issued and proposed voluntary SME standards, voluntary systematic reporting standard for small and medium enterprises, which will be part of kind of subgroups of SRS standards. For them, it will be not anymore mandatory according to this proposal, but of course, even for this group would be very interesting to do such a reporting, especially because of business reasons and because of financial institutions. Maybe let's jump on next slide. Yeah, thank you. As far as EU taxonomy, there are some proposed changes as well. Again, there is a threshold. Entities with more than 1,000 employees need to focus on EU taxonomy in the future. But then there is a second threshold focusing on average turnover above 450 million euro per year. So in case if company fulfills both of these 2 criteria, in such a case, we need to continue with EU taxonomy reporting. But even with that, there are some suggestions for further simplification, like reduction of data points by almost 70%, or reduction in the scope of mandatory reporting of operational expenditures and simplification of some other aspects regarding EU taxonomy. So only the big group or big companies will probably do the EU taxonomy reporting in the future. And then let's briefly check how the CBAM, carbon border adjustment mechanism, will looks like after the omnibus, which is on next slide. Again, there are some simplification, focusing on new proposed de minimis threshold, focusing on 50 tons per importer per year. And importers below this threshold will be extended from the CBAM authorization. And then there are some other proposed changes, like authorization of declarants will be more in a more easy way. There will be changes in financial liability and in reporting requirements as well. All these changes in general, focusing on CSRD, taxonomy, and CBAM, is or has to aim to simplify the non-financial reporting, because it's a really quite complex topic and time demanding on client side. How we look the possible future perspective from PwC. First, it's necessary to say that its proposal, really the proposal of European Union, and now we are in acceptance process, or we will be soon in acceptance process. Even during this acceptance process, there should be some possible suggestion changes of the current proposal. So it's necessary to check on it, and especially for the companies from the wave 2, to check regular updates if these updates will come, or ask their consultants. In general, Omnibus has not yet come into force. It awaits the co-decision process by European Parliament, European Commission, and proposal by the member of the states. Even that there is, let's say, the push for quick approval of that, it should take several months or even longer. That means that European Union indicated that they would like to validate it, the stop the clock provision, postponing the start of the reporting. So this part they would like to approve by the end of 2025. However, there may be a delay with such a validation. So really, it's something that this part should be validated within following 4 to 6 months on the side of European Commission, and then on the member states, it should take till the end of the year, or even during the next year. Some states will finalize the validation of this new proposal once the proposal will be finalizing. So what we can do in the meantime, because we cannot stop the process, the banks, partners need to have some information about my sustainable strategy. So we in PwC suggested to continue the reporting and in the preparation, and focusing on quantitative data points, including GHG emission calculation and some other ones, because that's, let's say, a direction of proposal of Omnibus, focusing more on quantitative parts instead of qualitative parts. So quantitative parts is the figures, real figures about my GHG emission and so on, for example. Qualitative parts is, for example, my policy relating non-financial reporting and so on. So that's something which will simplify the whole process on client side. And of course, there is very important to consider the expectation of my customers, investors, and so on, because that should be something what I need as a company to focus on it. And maybe last PwC perspective and suggestion is for the companies between 250 up to 1,000 employees, focus it on voluntary SME standards, which will be published officially, hopefully soon, in order to have something that I need to report to my partners as well. And then now, maybe let's briefly jump in the Keboola ESG management solution. As Jiri already mentioned, this is the complex software solution for non-financial data reporting, and PwC helped Keboola with methodological support during the process of development of this solution. So ESG MS solution can help with managing, processing, and storing and visualizing all non-financial data on client side. The solution is ready for CSRD reporting, for SRS standards, and of course for GRI as well. I would say there will be now the new group for the companies 250 up to 1,000 employees. So very probably there will be additional segment of potential market on the potential clients on the market, which need to do reporting according voluntary SME standards, and this will be our challenge for the following months as well. As this solution can cover all quantitative indicators, including the carbon emission, including carbon footprint, So the solution is connected with external databases of emission factors, what normally client need to do for calculation of carbon footprint. So we are connected with external databases, well-known, either DEFRA or EcoInvent or some other ones, in order to calculate the relevant emissions on client side. This solution can manage the non-financial data across the entities, groups, and supply chain as well, and facilitate the creation of regular non-financial reports for the future publishing of this information. So how the reporting process looks like with this solution. According to SRS standards and GRI as well, there are predefined templates for each selected topic, let's say material topic, according to double materiality assessment on client side. And with these templates, you can upload there the relevant raw data for specific indicators. So once I uploaded the data there, the system will do the data processing and calculation according to current legislation, and will export then the processed data in chosen format, dashboards, etc., for your further needs on client side. So in case if I will prepare the non-financial report in the near future, or even in this year, in such a case, I will export the relevant data set, the dashboards from the system, and I will have almost finalizing the non-financial report for possible future publishing. The complexity of this non-financial information is quite high, and maybe the best solution would be to show you quickly how the solution looks like, in order to show you some following slides. And there you will see that there will be the possibility to do a different angle of view from the system. You can do the reporting for the group, for several entities or single entities. You can do the reporting only for environmental section or for social section or for governance, etc. So that's something that really should be helpful for the ESG managers or directors on client side, because they need a different view, different granularity of the data in different moments of the non-financial reporting regular year. So maybe now, if I can jump and show my screen, and let me allow, ladies and gentlemen, to show you briefly the solution, how it looks like. And then my colleagues will add the additional information about the implementation, which is also very, very important. So I'm going to share the screen. So that's how the solution looks like. This is so-called landing page for us. Of course, ESG manager director can choose the reporting period, can choose the entity. In order, if I have several entities within the group, I can do the consolidated non-financial report according to legislation. So that's something that the solution can do. Of course, it should be aligned with the financial consolidation. And here are three sections: environmental, social, and governance. Let's quickly jump in it. And now I'm on team page. So let's imagine that I'm ESG manager, and I see all relevant tasks, kind of dashboards, let's say, for my Monday meetings, for example. And I would see that all these my mandatory topics, material topics, according to double materiality assessment. And I could see quite easily that there are some delay with some relevant topics with specific person, etc. I would see here the person who are responsible for uploading of the data, and of course someone else who will confirm the data as well. So that's kind of my dashboard for Monday. I would see quite easily, yeah, that's correct, and I need to focus on this area because there are some delay issues, problems with the data, etc. Moreover, of course, I can create my own task for the next for the new template. So I could do it like that. I would choose, for example, the entity. I would choose the section, what I'm focused on it. I could choose the templates, for example, including the description and instruction as far as this task. And I would choose who will be responsible for the upload of this data and who will be responsible for the confirmation of the data. And once I'm settled the deadline of this task and click on the save button, there are automatically notifications running in the email of these persons. There, of course, could be more people responsible for this task in order to validate this information and upload the relevant information within the system for further calculation. Now let's click on My Tasks. And let's imagine that now I'm an ESG contributor and I'm responsible for the business trips. I'm working on HR, for example, and I need to fill in the relevant data and send it for further validation to the confirmator. So let's imagine that I would like to see the business trips. Now I'm going to show you the example of one template focusing on business trips, focusing on car. So give me the second, please. And these templates are there really a lot. A lot, it means for all single topic according to the SRS, which should be material for the client. And of course, this is the part of initial assessment and setting for the client. So this is the example of one template for the client, how it looks like. There are some basic description of the topic, what need to do with this topic, what need to fill in, etc. And then there are columns with some additional information in pop-up windows. That there are some mandatory columns, there are some voluntary columns, etc. for better granularity of the data afterwards and outputs. And you need to fill in only, or I need to fill in the data within the template and save it and upload within the system. This way, how I'm showing you is the manual way. Of course, there is a possibility to automate, and that's why we have here Keboola, because Keboola is experts for that with their partner. And about that later on, will speak my colleague how to fast and smoothly automate this solution. So right now, I'm uploaded manually or either automatically the data within the system, within the Keboola system. And now what I can do with the data. So system will do the calculation according to SRS standards. And then in export session, I will see a different predefined exports for further use. And I could use it as I need it for my future non-financial reporting preparation and so on. Moreover, of course, I can create specific reports for my needs. I could put there some name, description, etc. And I could group it quite easily, the information, but I need to put together if my report is not created yet from the beginning. So that's a way how I can group the information and prepare the report for my further use. Dashboard section is very similar as well. It means that I can use it for my further, let's say, use in non-financial report. Once I have the information within the system, system will do the export calculation and dashboards as well. So, for example, here you can see the example of governance bodies. There are different angle views, there are different filtration and so on. And again, I could do some export in case if I need it for my further needs. And I can work with this graphics part as well. Admin section is very important as well, as with ESG information. There are, let's say, part of ESG information. There are sensitive information from social part. So of course, at the beginning, there is possible everything will be settled for the client, but even during the whole using of this software as a service, client can modify the access rights for different users, for different sections, for different entities, and so on. So that's something which is possible to edit it at any moment during the using of this solution. Based on the actual needs on the client side. Then we have the library section as well. Library section, normally you can put there the additional information. You can put there a scan of invoices, certification as far as the non-financial reporting, and so on. You can put there the, let's say, manuals, training manuals, and moreover, you can create there different files for your qualitative part, for your qualitative indicators, in case if you would like to add there, upload there some policy, that space there to have it. Why we have the library here? The reason is that according, let's say, our assurance, past assurance experience, we see as an additional value to have all this information at one spot. And that's why there is this library, but of course it's on client how they will use it. And last section, what I would like to briefly mention is the support section here. Because as mentioned, as it is software as a service, at the beginning there is a successful implementation, and then if you need to create some new account, you can use this ticketing system with our IT colleagues, and they will create the relevant access for the users, etc. So that's why here is this support section as well. So as you can see, the complexity of the non-financial reporting is quite high, and thus a strong partner for the whole implementation is, according to my opinion, crucial. And that's why I would like to ask you, my colleagues, to explain our audience in bigger detail the successful implementation journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert and EG, for your parts. It was really technical and deep cuts into the recent legislation changes. So I will try to keep my part short and in a different voice. So again, thank you for being part of this. My name is Michal Nikodem, and I'm from Revolt BI, currently at the CTO role. Revolt BI is a small data consultancy company. We do help organizations with similar projects. We do automation workflows. We reduce the manual report. Fourth, we implement best practices that prevent future issues. And we try to go beyond the current project, so we build a sustainable solution. Revolt BI consists of more than 60 data experts. We do have around 100 successful projects, and we have been premium Keboola partner for the last 7 years. Specifically for the ESG, we see a lot of the challenges that these implementation will face are the similar problems that we have been handling for the last couple of years. That is a lot of unstructured data sources, a lot of scattered data sources, reliability on the manual input, and companies that are starting a new data part of their life. And here we specialize also in training and mentoring and writing data-driven solutions. So what are the challenges in this type of implementations? We see that businesses usually struggle with high data complexity, with a lot of manual inputs and fragmented systems. Combination of all of these making leveraging the data, not just reporting it to authorities, really hard. So organization needs an automated, integrated, and scalable solution, and ESG data must be transparent, auditable, and actionable. And the last part is critical. What are the typical pains that we see in the similar implementations is low data quality, or in other words, that you rely on manual data collection, fragmented data sources that you need to collect data from big numbers of inputs, and that companies invest a lot of money and into these new data projects, and there is a little bit of wasted data potential because the data is not leveraged into other use cases. And last one, which is partially solved by the software, but anyway, if you want to use these data points and make key decisions to change the outcome so your impact is lower, there's a misalignment of metrics. And I believe that all of you have been on a meeting where different teams represent different numbers of the same event. So what Keboola does in order to help with these pains is that Keboola is one data solution that can solve all of these problems. So as you can see in this schematic picture, on the left side, Keboola can collect the data from the third partner sources or from a lot of internal sources. And what we can do is we can automate this to be filled into those manual inputs. Keboola offers a lot of features around data cataloging and democratization, as was mentioned before. So your company can access the data also in a different way, not just in this application. We can do validation and enrichment of this data, so you don't need to rely on some manual inputs, let's say changing an ID into some human readable format. And Keboola can also be used to drive business processes that could change the impact that you will be measuring in the ESG. And last is the integration with the ESG reporting, as you were able to see in the application. All of this is run on top of Keboola, which provides data security and governance, and also a lot of metadata, so you can collect when people were accessing your reports, when they were uploading the data, etc. And how does Keboola simplifies all of these pains? Is that it's an easy integration. As I said, we worked with Keboola for last 7 years, and the number of connectors was growing all the time and will be growing until end of time. So more connectors are being added as we speak, I believe. And also connect the data is really seamless because most of the use cases are really low code or no code, as you can say. Also for some of the specific tooling or systems that have been mentioned before, the connectors already exist. And together with ESG templates, we can really build an automated calculation and data validation according to all those EU regulations. Keboola is also a multi-purpose data platform, so you can use it beyond the ESG. Same data can be leveraged for sales reporting or marketing insights inside your company, or even for those financial and internal reporting. And you can easily create new dashboards and make all those lovely data-driven decisions. And last one is the minimizing of the manual effort. So we don't need to spend a lot of time in front of the screen to filling up all those reports. And this one platform allows everybody to access the data, so it's not just hidden beyond this tooling. And again, thank you for your colleagues, and that's all from me. And I keep my word back to Keboola team.
Yeah, and the last word before we move into the Q&A section is that for the members of this webinar, we have a special offer that we will run for you, the personalized ESG assessment, if you like. And also we are able to give you a 3 months free of charge of the ESG solution, so you can test it yourself and try how easy it is. All right. Please reach us on the email address or check out on the QR code website. And Emilia, back to you for the Q&A session.
And thank you again to our presenters for a great webinar today. Moving to the Q&A, if anybody would like to ask questions now is the time to throw it in the question and answer chat, which you would find. You can either use the chat or you can throw it in on the Q&A section and we can answer this live. We'll give a couple of minutes, and if there's no questions currently, I'd like to think about it. Please do get in touch with us at sales@keboola.com, and we can come back to you as soon as possible with a relevant person on there. So a couple of minutes more to see if there's any questions for our experts today. Okay, so we do actually have a question that just came through. How usually looks an implementation, and what needs to be ready on our side or need to have?
Michal, will you be able to take this?
Yeah. So would we? Yeah, it's really, thank you for the question, and it's really broad one, and it depends on the size of the company and the specific needs. But we usually start with putting everybody in one room and discussing what we need to achieve in this project. This one has a really specific goal, so we would map the data points that you want to automate, that you can have access to, that you already have access to, and then we would go by some order of priorities. In this case, I think we would take into consideration how much manual effort is filling in each one particular source and whether it is possible to automate this. And then we would start with connecting those data sources into the Keboola, so we can work on the filling up all those manual reports instead of you. And that's the part of the implementation, how to fill in the data. But maybe Jiri could also tell us about how you can get the application and how you can start using that part.
Yeah, so basically the application, as Robert mentioned, is a software as a service, so that's the easy one. You can click and deploy. We give you access, and since day one you can use it. Again, you can build the automation as Michal proposed, or if you have already some data, for example, in the Excels, you can upload the templates over there right now and leverage the automated calculation, which is now auditable and fully transparent.
Thank you so much for answering the questions, Michal and Jiri. And I do have a next question. I assume that the whole platform is primarily cloud-based. How do you deal with enterprise security, data storing, access to data, etc.?
Yes, correct. The application is currently in the cloud. However, as a Keboola also serves multiple regulated industries, for example, banking. We have the option to have a single tenant deployment inside of your security perimeter for the large enterprise customers. However, the ESG reporting very likely shall not contain sensitive information. So we believe that initially, for either proof of concept or initial deployment, the data can be served as from the software as a service, and then obviously we can discuss commercials if you need and want to have this installed in your security perimeter.
Thank you, Eugene. I hope that answered the question. There's no more questions currently, so if there's no more coming through in the next few seconds, I would like to thank again everybody and our speakers for organizing this webinar today and participating. Oh, we have one actually that came straight away. Question to Robert. What the current changes and quite often updating requirements, with the current changes, apology, and quite often updating requirements, do you recommend to have an in-house ESG consultant or rather outsource the whole problematic?
Thank you, Emilia. Yeah, in fact, I would recommend definitely to check the updates from the European Union if there will come any further ones, and to be in contact with external consultants, because initial, let's say, settlement of the whole non-financial reporting is, according our opinion, quite crucial. So, and it's quite complex, as you can see on the example of SRS standards. So I would say at the beginning, there is definitely a recommendation to consult with external partners who has experience in it. And then, of course, in the future, there would be possibility to run fully independently on client side.
Thank you, Robert. And we have a question from Nicola as well. What does the 3-month trial entail? And what would our organization need to prepare beforehand, and what's needed from employees during?
Right. So what we will do is, obviously we give you a free subscription, so you can test it yourself. We will also give you an expert to come on site, discuss the ESG ESG solution. Plus, we will also do the assessment on where is your data and how the data can be collected. And also we can run a proof of concept to show you the outcomes of when the data are collected either manually or automatically through Keboola to the solution and calculate the ESG report so you can see it yourself. I hope it answered the question. Emilia, back to you.
Thank you, Jiri. These are all the questions so far. I'll give a chance for any additional as well before we close off.
And interestingly, there was no audio question. Everything just written.
Oh, there we go. Okay, thanks. What are the costs involved? I believe that's on the back of the question for the trial.
Yeah, so initially for the 3 months and the assessment, there is no cost involved. It's the complimentary for members or people who were watching this webinar online. Usually it's a license cost and depends on the size of the organization. The cost is derived mainly from number of entities that you would like to have ESG reporting on, and it's in the price. If you are looking for the price range, it's much cheaper than having one full-time employee looking after it in your organization.
Thank you. Given a few seconds for anything else, but if there isn't, we'll be able to take questions, as I said, on sales@keboola.com, and we can connect you to the right person. But thank you again, everyone, for attending, and thank you for our presenters for presenting today's webinar, and we will be in touch with the audience for the recording of the session. Thank you, and I wish you all a wonderful day and week. See you soon.
Have a great day. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.